Before creating my ancillary text, I had a basic level of knowledge in Photoshop. I knew a few tool shortcuts and when to use them. I also had a good understanding of layers and how to effectively utilize them. However, it had been a while since I had used Photoshop and it took me a while to remember where certain effects were. This meant it took me slightly longer to complete some tasks. After creating my ancillary text, I felt as though I had a better understanding of how to effectively utilize the tools in Photoshop. When adding text to my digipack, I found that the text colour I wanted to use wouldn't stand out enough against the dark background. I managed to solve this by using the brush tool in Photoshop to trace around the edges of the letters, creating a halo effect. It also made the text look as though it had been spray painted onto the wall. This made it possible for me to use black text and continue with the urban theme throughout my ancillary texts. After my ancillary texts were created, I looked back on the steps I took to create both products. I realised that I had used Photoshop to alter most features on my digipack and advert. I had even used Photoshop to edit the text. When doing this, I had created a lot of Photoshop files. This meant that my folders got unorganised, and I frequently lost track of where specific files were saved. I have since learned that I need to be more organised when creating lots of Photoshop files. Also, I didn't have the use of Photoshop outside of college. This meant that I had to manage the work I did at college and prioritise the work that required Photoshop. I saved a lot of my work onto a USB memory stick to allow me to work on some tasks from home. However, the USB stick I was using began to break, and a lot of the work on the memory stick wasn't saved anywhere else. I was able to remove the files from the USB and store them elsewhere, but I have since learnt the importance of backing up my files onto several devices. Before I started editing my music video, I had only used Premiere once before. This was during the final weeks of my AS Media Studies last year, where I created a short music video and edited it in Premiere. This was to help me get an idea of what to expect next year. Since I didn't have long, my experience of using Premiere was short. This meant I had very little knowledge of the program going into my A2 Media Studies. Throughout the process of editing my A2 music video, I have learnt what the conventions of music videos are and how to apply them. One example of this was when I was trying to match the cuts to the beat of the music. This was difficult as being slightly out of time would make a big difference on the effect of the technique. After finishing my main task, I have a better understanding of Premiere and will be more confident when using it in the future.